Hello, movie dopers. I'm Brian,
And I'm Brad.
and today we are starting over this whole podcast, and it's taking on a whole new format, which is reviewing movies old, new, from the US where we're based to everywhere else in the world. I got a few titles from India I definitely want to be tackling, but welcome. This is a spoiler free and spoiler filled review. Basically, we're going to go 2, 3 minutes in the beginning and talk about this movie, our thoughts, so that if you want to dip in and get some quick thoughts to make you decide whether you want to watch a movie or not, you can jump in, hear the spoiler free review, hear the movies are dope rating system that we both land on, and our opinions could be different. And then dip out if you haven't seen it. If you have not seen Blade Runner 24 and want to, there's going to be an affiliate link in the description so you can go get it and check it out if that's something you want to do. But Brad, this is a new movie for you that you watched in
It
the
was. It
last
was.
week. Yeah.
And without going into spoilers, I had to watch it twice.
Mm. This was my second time watching it. I saw it in the theaters the first time.
So this is a follow-up to Blade Runner, the original, and then
Yeah.
Blade Runner Final Cut, which I think is the exact same thing, just
Yeah.
recut, remastered, redone a little bit, like the
It,
Zack Snyder cut.
yeah, there's some YouTube videos that describe help break down what the four I think there's four different versions of the movie. And
Okay, I only knew two,
the
so that's bad.
yeah, no, it's fine. That was the only version I had ever watched, the final cut or whatever it's called. But yeah, apparently the originals had certain gems like the N word casually dropped, and also forced narration, like the studio forced narration from Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford intentionally shit the bed with the narration with the intention of having them chicken out of using it.
It's
Spoiler alert, they did not chicken out. And
Is that
yeah,
like listening to the director commentary while watching a movie just with Harrison Ford?
no, worse. Yeah, apparently,
Oh,
it's
oh,
like
fantastic.
it would be like if somebody had. Okay, we're good. We need to get into our spoiler free review really quick. But let's say if the line is, "It was a hot summer morning," Harrison Ford's reading would be, "It was a hot summer morning," and he really tried to shit the bed, and he succeeded, but they just didn't care. Anyway,
That's man.
anyway, this seemed an appropriate movie to review because Dune recently came out on HBO Max. Dune Part One. You were kind enough to tell me Dune Part Two got
Yep.
greenlit,
Greenlit. Yep.
and both are from the masterful director Denis Villeneuve. Blade Runner 2049, that is. And
Who seems like a pretty interesting guy.
yeah, he seems nice. Little
Without going too far, I mean he definitely has his own style about things.
hmm,
I definitely noticed watching some of his movies. He definitely has his own style.
yeah. And you've seen Sicario, I assume, because you bought
I
the
have.
sequel. I've seen Prisoners. I've seen Blade Runner 2049 and Dune Part One. I think that's all the ones I've seen of his. But what?
Enemy. There's another one, Enemy.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And then so I've seen that one. That one is with who was it? There wasn't Jake Gyllenhaal, where he plays two people. He play
Oh, I think I
yeah,
saw that poster. I didn't know that was from Denis Villeneuve.
yep. And then he had another one too that I didn't write down. It was like his masterpiece before he really broke out and became a name. I think it was like Blue Velvet or something like that. There was another one like that kind of set him off into the stratosphere,
Oh, okay. Blue Velvet
or just yeah.
director. Oh, wait, no. Blue Velvet was David Lynch.
What was there was another one.
Okay. But really quickly before we go over to our rating and stuff, what did you think? Spoiler-free review of this one. And you have not seen the original Blade Runner, right?
I have not seen the original one. So I watched it the first time, understood enough to understand the movie, but Polytechnic, by the way, is the movie. I just looked it up.
Gotcha.
I understand the movie enough to understand it and enjoy it, but I went back, looked at like a synopsis of the first movie, because there's some parts towards the end that I just didn't understand. And then I rewatched a second time after reading a kind of a short synopsis of the first one, and I was like, oh, okay. Rewatched it, and it made way more sense, in my opinion. But
Yeah, to be fair, to Brad, I said that it was up to him ultimately, but I would be excited to see what his thoughts would be if he went in blind without the original. Because spoiler alert for whenever we review the original Blade Runner, I don't know why I've both times I've seen the original, I was just bored. I don't know why. I'll try it again. Third time might be the charm.
maybe, yeah.
But this one captivated me in a way that basically the impression that I had from everyone's love of the original, that's what this one delivered for me.
Okay. The original, without going into too much spoilers, has some controversy in it that people either loved or hated, about how the movie ends and the questions that the movie asks. Because part of one of Dennis, how do you pronounce his last name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, that does not look like, okay, but I'll go with it. One of his things is he likes like human trauma / like human identity. It's kind of like one of his like main sticking points in most of his movies. Even Enemy, where I think, like I said, Jake Gyllenhaal or whoever it is plays the same person but in two different forms, kind of like a Fight Club thing.
Oh wait, this movie had controversy of how it ended?
No,
Or
the original.
Okay.
The original Blade Runner.
Okay.
On how it ended and the questions that it asked. So people either loved it, hated it, and they kind of argue about Harrison Ford's character.
Gotcha.
Boom,
Well,
boom, boom. Did that without spoilers.
all right. Well, we can dive deeper into that when we review the original one if we end up doing that. But before we give our ratings for this one, what are your non-spoiler thoughts about this?
It's interesting. It's a well thought out movie. It makes you ask a lot of questions. Like I said, one of the director's things, there's human identity and human trauma, and kind of, finding out who you are in the world kind of thing. That's part of his stick. He even shows it a little bit in Dune. So it's one of those movies you'll probably need to watch a couple times to really enjoy everything. I would recommend at least a second watching, just to make sure you catch everything, because there's going to be some things that are going to whiz right by and you'll catch it at the end and you'll be like, oh, that makes more sense now.
And it is so interesting that is true, considering that I would say the pace of the movie is the most, how do I say this without making it sound horribly boring? It's like the most captivating snail's pace.
but it keeps at a consistent pace. It's not like action, like hardcore action, blah, 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 blah. And then you're just like 45 minutes of drawn out nothingness.
No, yeah, totally.
At least it's consistent and it moves the story. It's not sitting watching a guy paint a wall for 3 hours for no reason.
Now that I'm thinking of it, it might actually be a benefit that it's so slow and steady wins the race in terms of hiding those clues.
Yes.
Because I feel if it was quick paced, like quick cuts all the time, we'd be trying to pay attention more and not just
let some of it go.
Feeling the vibe. Like the vibe of the movie was a big thing for me. By the way, if anyone has watched it, I actually recorded a full-length reaction that I'm putting on Patreon. That link's in the description. But if you wanted to watch along, but man, the vibe of this movie, I was just left talking like this, like just so Like I had been given a 2.5 hour massage.
Jared Leto really did it to you, didn't he?
No, he's not in this film.
Barely.
I don't think he's in this film. I don't think so. That's a testament to the film that I've told Brad I'm cautiously I keep Jared Leto at arm's length ever since James Gunn once tweeted like however many years ago that implied that he kind of DMs underage girls. Never mentioned ever again. No one else has ever mentioned it. I can't. It's not an actual accusation. That's like something where I would be like, "Fuck him forever." But after hearing that, I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah, maybe be cautious.
maybe a
be a little,
follow-up tweet would be
yeah.
good. I'd appreciate that." Either, oh yeah, never mind. That was I heard that, but it was wrong. Or let's talk about it further.
Yeah, let's make this a discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Morbius eventually, but it's definitely gonna be through Netflix DVD. Let's just say. All right. So recommend? No.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd give it a if you're into that sci-fi, um, thoughtful kind of movies, Christopher Nolan-esque, Christopher Nolan light. Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely say watch it.
That's interesting to phrase it as Christopher Nolan light, because I could definitely see that as like a maybe if you took Inception and toned down the action a little bit,
Okay.
maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going for by saying that?
Yeah. I mean, there's Christopher Nolan's his thought-provoking movies are just off the chain. Memento is the first one that comes to my head when you say Christopher Nolan. So I mean, that right there is a testament to how good of a job he does with some of those movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, take Inception, tone down the outright action. There's still action in this movie, but turn it down.
And man, does the action make an impact sometimes?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely recommend it. I'd go in I believe it's the skunk tier, the second from the top.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I would say, yeah. I would
Damn.
say this is probably a movie you're gonna want to watch a second time. You're gonna watch this movie and be like, okay, let's watch this a second time. Maybe not right away, but you'll want to watch it a second time to catch everything.
All right, so I'll explain the ranking system in a little bit, but what I would say if you want to figure out if you should check it out or not is if you've seen Dune Part 1 and you were like me and you were like, "Wow, that was captivating." However, it feels like exactly one half of a movie and I want the rest of it. Then I'd say check this out because this is the whole meal. Does that sound fair?
Yes. It's more of a complete movie versus part one of a movie.
Yeah. And obviously
it's more complete.
And obviously the whole story won't take over 5 hours, which Dune will.
It
and
will,
you don't have
absolutely.
to wait 2 or 3 more years to get part 2. Okay, so let's get into the rating system just before we get into the spoiler review. So the lowest rating a movie can get at this point is poison. You may have noticed that there's an emoji in 1 or 2 emojis in the title. I'm actually just always going to do 2 emojis. Never mind. One for me and one for the guest in case it switches up. So the lowest ranking can be poison, and that's a needle emoji. And that basically means it failed on every level.
Don't
piece of shit. Don't even listen to the podcast review. Don't waste your time
unless you want to laugh.
Unless you want to like maybe find out if it's a movie that you should watch while drunk and then just shit all over it.
Science Mystery Theater 3000 kind of movie.
So poison, I don't have any I don't have an example off the top of my head. Skunky is like, this is bad. This is not necessarily worth your time. There's probably some good moments in it, but I would guess Skunky would probably be more like Transformers 2, where like, yeah, you'll chuckle, you'll laugh, there'll be some whiz bang, but at the end of it, you're like, that would have been a lot more fun drunk.
I'm glad I watched this movie. Now I'm never doing it again.
Yeah. Joint is like, ooh, hit the spot. What a that was a good hit. I think it's a little unfair to this movie that I'm going to use as an example because I think it's a little better than just a joint. But Iron Man 1, I would say, is a joint. Like, you got just what you wanted. That, like, it's enjoyable.
Don't go too deep.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable.
You're not going to rethink anything about life or the meaning of anything. You're just going in, have fun. It's well done. Yeah. All of these are drug related because its movies are dope. Forgot to mention that. Mushroom is like, ooh, babe. Like, that's a movie you're gonna recommend as soon as you get out of the theater. I have no idea what I don't have a actually this would be a mushroom for me. This would be a like
yeah, mushroom, second from the top. Yeah. I had the order backwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you were talking about it, you went skunky. I was like, oh no, let me elaborate on the ratings because whoa. And then ayahuasca is like the rarest of rare films that maybe it might just be personal, but it's something that really, really fucking hits deep. And for me, that an example would be Blind Spotting. Watched it once, immediately it was my favorite movie. I told one of the co-host of I Love You 3000 Reviews, Holly, I met her on Twitter because I was raving about Blind Spotting, and she responded how she had always been nervous to watch it, and we promised each other she would watch Blind Spotting and I would finally watch 12 Years a Slave, which for the same reason we were both nervous to watch it. So that's ayahuasca for me, by the ranking.
Off the top of my head, I would probably put The Pianist in that rating scale in ayahuasca, just because of how much it affected me personally after watching the movie. Nice. Like, I was mentally messed up for quite a while, several days of just like nonstop. My head was nonstop running through that movie.
That's interesting. I think I saw it when I was like 14, 15 and I liked it, but I should rewatch it based on that.
Mentally it had me pretty messed up, and just the series of events that guy has to go through based on a true story. So yeah.
Here's one that everyone will understand. Ayahuasca is probably what the original Star Wars movie was to Eric Foreman on That 70s Show.
Wow.
But
that took a way sharper turn than I thought I was going to.
I know, but like there are so many filmmakers who, like, Star Wars was such a hit because it blew so many people's minds, just shattered their preconceptions, or really just meant like, and ended up meaning so fucking much to them and stayed with them in their heart for the rest of their lives. So for Eric, if I was asking Eric Foreman in the first episode of That 70s Show or whenever they saw Star Wars, he would say Star Wars was ayahuasca. So those are the ratings. And now that's the rating system. I'll TLDR it if I ever explain it again, or I'll just say the explanations in the description. But sir, what is your rating for this movie?
Mushroom.
Yes. Mushroom for me as well.
Surprisingly mushroom. I'll give it that. Surprisingly, when I first saw it, I was a little skeptical. I mean, Ryan Gosling, not a big Ryan Gosling person. But yeah, surprisingly, yeah, mushroom.
Yeah, for me, Ryan Gosling is either Bullseye or this was a fine film. Like,
for me, it's either Bullseye or The guy threw the dart. It ended up on the pool table somehow.
Here are the three movies off the top of my head that I think Ryan Gosling is a perfect puzzle piece, or he fits perfectly into it. Blade Runner 2049, La La Land, and Lars is the Real Girl. And now I got to add Lars is the Real Girl because that is definitely an underrated, or Lars and the Real Girl. Lars and the Real Girl is a lot like in feel for me like Dan in real life.
Okay.
If anyone's seen either, but
I've seen Dan in real life, and La La Land's on my list of movies that I need to see. I own a copy of it.
Ironically, since Dan in real life has Steve Carell, the one movie that I think is not as good as everybody says is the one with Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell and Emma Stone and I don't know. But anyway, Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell. I don't know why I'm looking. Did that Google search in IMDb because that didn't bring up anything.
Probably not.
Because IMDb doesn't work like Google. Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
With oh wait, now I need to go back to IMDb. Crazy Stupid Love. Trying to make this entertaining. But I feel really bad that the villain of Kingsman: The Golden Circle, I've forgotten her name, which is a crime. Julianne Moore. It was a fine movie. It was fine.
Yeah.
At least for me. But a lot of people gave it a lot. I think this was around the time of pickup artists. That was hit big.
Yeah. And you just hit at the wrong time.
Anyway, that's it. That's our rating. Mushrooms. Would you like to lead the way into spoilers since you have a lot of notes?
Lots of notes.
Or you have an infinite number more notes than I do because I have 0.
Oh, well, I didn't really write a whole lot about the plot or anything like that, but I mean, we can kind of stumble through it.
Okay.
Spoilers. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Turn back now. 3, 2, 1.
Turn your time turner 12 times.
Yep. If you want to watch this movie, pause it. We'll be here.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I don't know if I mentioned, but the video version of this review will be on Patreon as well.
Ooh.
But sir, lead the way. You can see Brad's schmexy
my suntan I got today.
Ooh. I wasn't sure if it was the camera.
No, I was outside, so yeah. Got infinitely more tan. This movie opens up with Ryan Gosling, that we find out is a replicant hunter who is hunting down the older version of the replicants, that more or less revolted, kind of. So they give you a little like I don't want to say Star Wars-esque intro to it, but they kind of give you like a kind of like a little definition of replicants and stuff like that, which was kind of interesting. Yeah. When I first read that the first time, I was super confused, not knowing the previous movie. But you see him kind of land his car, walk into an empty house, and all of a sudden Batista you see a scene with Batista farming or doing something. Yeah. Walks into his house and they rumble.
By the way, I think the first time I watched it, I think I walked in late because I completely did not have that scene when I saw it in the theater.
Which scene?
Dave Batista.
Oh,
completely. After I left, I was like, I thought Dave Batista was in this. I saw one clip of him later in the movie, but that's really all that was there.
Yeah, I mean they rumble pretty good through the house,
dude. Yeah,
I mean Dave Batista pushes Ryan Gosling through a wall.
I was watching all the special features showing that. Yeah.
And then you find out that after Ryan Gosling kind of knocks him out, that all of these replicants have ID numbers under their left, the lower part of their left eye that he has to scan. And then he steals his eyeball.
Vibes, such good vibes.
Yeah, just randomly steals Dave Bautista's eyeball. Um, calls into whoever his police department, which I believe is LA Police Department.
Yeah.
Um, they run it through the system, find out that he's got other people that work with him or work closely around him. So he's sent out to go find those guys. And the reason why this whole story in the beginning is because while he's there, he has a little floating camera that kind of follows him around a little bit. He notices that there is a flower on a dead tree, a relatively fresh flower, which is assumed to be pretty rare because everything around his farm area is dead except for, was it like maggots that he was farming, protein farming or something?
Yeah. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, when everything's dead, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and he had been a farmer for almost like, what is
10
it, 29 years or something?
Oh, was it that long even?
I remember that it was 29 because the daughter was 30 and it was so close to being the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Which made sense considering what they ended up finding because of the scan.
Right. Which is a box of bones. He also notices that there was a date on the tree that was carved in the tree, 6/10/21 or 6/10/22 or something like that. The exact date I don't think is super relevant. Just know that it's a specific date.
6/10/22, the day COVID was finally beaten. I don't know if that was the actual date. I didn't write that down. I have fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know it was 6/10. I just don't remember the year. I don't remember if it was 22. But yeah, probably pretty close. I mean, 2049. The bones are believed to be bone remains of a child.
Wait, was that the bone remains of a child or the bone remains of the mother?
I thought it was a child. Maybe. Ooh.
It was the mother that, we're in spoilers, so it was the mother that the woman who was recreated to walk to Harrison Ford, and he goes like her eyes were green or something, and then she gets taken out in the background. Yeah. Yeah, it was the mother.
See, I thought it was the daughter because I thought that was one of the puzzle pieces, because like you're supposed to believe that Ryan Gosling is the main character. Spoiler, he's not. He's just the puzzle piece that kind of leads you through this story.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's the mother, and they Robin Wright's character sends Ryan Gosling on a search for this child, because if the child is found, who is born nearly 30 years ago, then the idea or the proof that a replicant could have a child would devolve the world into madness. That's why Ryan Gosling partway through thinks he might be the child.
And you're led to believe that he is the child based on the clues that are, as you know,
his memories.
All the clues that the director gives us makes it. I mean, I thought while watching this the first time, I was like, "Ooh, he is the thing. He is the child." And then it started becoming more. Then he started becoming more and more obvious, and that's when I started backtracking. Like, "Oh man, this is either the world's dumbest movie where they just lay out the entire movie in front of you in the first half hour, or I need to backtrack my thinking."
Yeah, you were much better than I was. On the first watch, I was like, it was devastating when I found out it was not him.
See, I was, as soon as it started becoming too obvious, I was like, "Uh-oh, I'm missing something." Like I did like the Scooby-Doo shuffle backwards, like trying to like, no. This is either the dumbest movie ever, or they're leading me down the path that they want to lead me down.
Yeah.
and I was hook, line, and sinker halfway through. Once it started becoming super obvious, the memories, him crying over the memories and stuff like that, it was kind of that was kind of the turning point. Like, they're leading me down this path, and I don't think I want to go down this path because I think it's the path they want me to go down. I'm one of those people that, like, even in video games, like there's a nice hallway and there's a hallway with a bunch of enemies. I'm gonna go down the hallway with a bunch of enemies because clearly you don't want me down there.
So should we trust about these inherent or talk about these inherent trust issues?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't have a couch to lay on there.
Hey, neither did Ted.
Yeah. He did. He laid on it for half a second.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that. I was like, I should probably close up this this plot hole to what I'm about to say. Forget. Diamond Dogs.
Fantastic TV show. I've never seen it. Go see it. Apple
Ted
TV
Lasso.
Plus. It is worth Apple TV Plus. That TV show.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm this close to asking Ryan from Granny Shift and that amazing T-shirt that you got on to make a Diamond Dogs of Ted Lasso thumbnail.
So it's finding this child becomes such a big deal to everybody, including kind of the pseudo bad character, Jared Leto, because he's kind of doing the same thing. It's not really clear if he's a replicant or a human, although he does have like a microchip that can read certain like keyboard keys. I didn't read Japanese to know what those keyboard keys said, but that's what it looked like. I was like, is that a keyboard key that they just stuck to the back of his neck?
Yeah, I don't remember about the keyboard keys stuck to the back of his neck, but the best way I could describe Jared Leto is he is 95% Elon Musk, 5% Jeff Bezos. Where he's got an ego, both of them do.
Okay.
Elon Musk wants to save the world, and then Jeff Bezos wants all the credit. But it might need to be 90%, 10%. Because, I can't imagine Elon Musk being willing to kill to achieve his goal. I could totally, man, I believe if it came out tomorrow that every night Jeff Bezos eats a homeless person, I'd be like, not even surprising.
Yep.
We finally got something to put him behind bars. Can we do that now? Not even surprised. 1 second. Horrifying. Let's stop it. Let's get it.
He wears his cowboy hat that he stepped out of the space shuttle with, his penis rocket, and his cowboy hat.
That's how I would describe Jared Leto's character is 90%, like, because he does say, I saved the world. And from as far as we can tell, accurate.
Every bad guy is a good guy to somebody.
Yeah. But you hearing phantom noises again?
Something banged off my house, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. I thought I heard a dog bark.
Yeah, that was my dog barked after the bang on the side of the house. That's why I looked like my window is kind of open, kind of not.
You want to peek through that window for the what is it, Michael Myers reveal?
No, I'm good. I don't do horror movies for a reason.
You should do The Final Girls. That is a great horror-ish. It's like if Shaun of the Dead is a comedy horror, The Final Girls is like a funny horror deconstruction. And it's got such a heart at the center of it.
We're recording this just after Halloween. I'm doing a list of the top 100 movies that my wife and I are watching, and Psycho is on there. So we watched Psycho, Albert Hitchcock's version of it.
I've never watched Psycho.
It doesn't hold up. It's suspenseful, but compared to like nowadays horror movies, it's
Gotcha.
but it is the highest rated horror movie on IMDb at like 85 or something like that.
I'm gonna say it now so that we can remember it later. But I had the idea that this podcast could eventually be changed into like one of those 100 movies to watch things.
Yep.
And if I don't know how you actually make those, I'm sure it'd be super easy since they're like what $15 on Amazon.
Yeah. You get to scratch off everything when you're done.
Yeah, we could have a movies or dope themed one. You could scratch off the scratchers and then sniff it like cocaine.
Yeah.
Not recommended, but not as destructive as cocaine.
I'm not a physician, but don't take my word for it anyway.
Theoretically healthier than a debilitating destructive coke addiction,
Theoretically,
but not confirmed.
Yeah. No studies have found it either way.
Yeah, might be made of Teflon. Don't know because I didn't Google it. All right. What else? What else about the movie would you like to say?
So we talked about Jared Leto. Jared Leto is also trying to have babies, have replicant babies. It was like a giant bag. it was super weird. And then they like cut the bottom of the bag and it just falls out the bottom. And it's like one of those baby giraffes that just can't walk right away and just kind of like topples over itself.
Yeah.
So he's in the business of trying to clone replicant or trying to breed replicants, which is in this movie like the last separation between replicants and human beings. It's kind of like the last hope.
Yeah.
I mean, they have cognitive function, they have, ability to make decisions, blah, blah, blah. But breeding is like the last step between, which is why this is such a big deal in this movie.
Yeah. As far as I could tell, to bring it back to the comparing him to Elon Musk, it sounds like let me rephrase that. Electric vehicles need to find a different way to hold the energy because the material that makes up lithium ion batteries, which are put in cell phones and electric cars, apparently is on pace to completely run out by 2040 or 2080 or something like that. And I believe that there's a one-to-one comparison to be made with being able to make replicants. They're running out of, they can't make them, either they can't make them fast enough, I can't remember, or they're running out of the materials to make them. So if they can make a replicant that can breed, that solves that problem, because then you could just have them make babies to make more replicants. Yeah. I mean, it would kind of be like if you had to build every cow that makes milk and gives steak. You know what I mean?
At some point, you're just going to want it to. You're going to want it to do it itself. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be harder
making cows.
It would be harder to keep the supply chain of milk going without if the cows couldn't just breed. Yeah. And then we've got, dude, I forgot that David Dastmalchian was in this.
Yep.
I got so excited, and then I forgot that he was murdered, and that was. How did you react to that moment? Because that moment was so fucking brutal.
It was brutal, but like
surgical.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I think it was worse than it needed to be. I think it was more brutal than it needed to be. But
I kind of like. I didn't like it, but I kind of liked that it was so brutal because imagining.
It made sense thematically, but I don't know. I think they could have did it a little bit better.
A little more PG-13, do you mean?
Yeah, they could have toned it just a little bit. It didn't need to be that aggressive.
Like, excuse me, do not give me 1% of a horror movie feels right now, because that's not my jam.
That's not where I want to go with this. I'm okay with blood and guts. I mean, but you didn't have to go, because I was like 10, 12 stabs. Like, you didn't need to do all that.
Wait, what was 10 to 12 stabs?
He was the one that was stabbed, wasn't he? Or was he shot?
No, he actually just got hit. She backhanded his head, and like the blood, you could
Oh,
immediately see that one of his eyes was bloody, and he was like, she
yes.
basically punched the back of his head so hard that
Okay.
done.
Yep. Okay.
Oh,
I don't know who I was thinking about then.
who is the stab? I know someone got stabbed. I know.
And then Jared Leto kills the one he bred by like slitting its throat, and then
Or I think he stabbed her stomach or something
oh yeah,
underneath.
he slit right underneath her stomach.
There was
He
someone who got stabbed. I think she stabbed Kay, Ryan Reynolds' character, multiple times in the water.
and then she didn't kill Kay's boss
She did. She was crushing Kay's boss's
with the
hand with the
glass in it.
glass, and then I think she
See, I thought
stabbed her or something. Not it wasn't as clean as David Dastmalchian, but it was, you know,
yeah.
that was emotional. I'm gonna tell him. You think we can't lie? I'm gonna tell him that you tried to shoot me, and I was like, holy shit, this is
I,
fucking great.
again, you got a replicant that's willing to lie.
Mm, things are
Like what?
changing.
I mean, that's kind of like the whole point of this movie is like it makes you question like what's human, what makes you human, what makes you real. Like that's I mean, and he does this with a lot of his other movies too. But that's like the big thing about this movie is like what makes you different as a human being to the replicant.
Yeah.
Breeding is like really the last thing on the list. I mean, even and this is funny because they named her Joy, named the other chick Love. Funny.
Oh,
Um,
Anna de Armas.
yeah,
Hmm.
Anna de Armas. Yeah, and and her magic ways of changing dresses, her like slouch outfit, which was nice.
Which is a slouch outfit. What does that
the
mean? The shoulderless ones?
the shoulderless one that like, all right, I'm kicking around the house. This is what I'm gonna wear. Because then she wanted to go dancing. She put on like two different dresses. She had like our maid outfit when he brought out the hologram steak and potatoes.
All right, we should
But
do a deeper dive into the sex scene because that was fascinating.
super weird.
But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you the scene where she's killing the boss reminded me of a different movie. Have you seen Gone Girl?
Yes, it was. It's been a while. It was shortly after it came out, but I saw it.
I thought of that because I was like, the only character I've ever seen who gave me more chills than love in that moment was Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. That movie is fucking terrifying for
A lot of different reasons.
for men, heterosexual men who are like, because I mean, like any person can be a uh has the capacity, I believe, to be an unattentive kind of douchey partner who can drift apart and then just fucking cheat. And it's like, wow, you're kind of an asshole. But the idea that the punishment for being
The consequences
a
of doing that.
lazy asshole and not doing anything like actually intentionally malicious. Like they had faded apart. The marriage was over. They hadn't actually. TLD, little slight spoilers for Gone Girl. I'm not going to spoil it more because I would like to actually tackle that one day on this podcast. But he's just a guy that should have filed divorce papers a couple
A
years
long time, yeah, a
earlier.
long time before
And
this.
that's it. And he cheated because as far as they knew the marriage was over. They just weren't, neither
Officially
one
over.
was willing to verbalize it. And holy shit. That's
He
all
goes,
I'll say.
it's worse from there.
That is all I'll say. I remember a friend of mine watched it with his girlfriend at the time, and he was like, don't touch me. It is not a, I kind of don't even want Taz Brad to come back to review it because I know he'll watch it with his wife. And that's not the vibes I want to put into their marriage, even for a night. But anyway, all right. So
So
the sex scene.
with Joy and the
Kind of
I'm trying,
redhead.
yeah, I'm trying to think of the nice sex worker. I'm trying to find like the nicest way to put this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sex work is work.
He noticed her. So Joy was on like a robot thing, was on like a in his home kind of only thing. He caught Batista, got a bonus for that. So he bought a device that allows him to take Joy anywhere he goes. It's kind of like a little like a pen almost.
Yeah.
Um,
Her name is Mariette, the
Mariette.
kind of redhead girl.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So she noticed that Kay looked at her, and since she is a hologram, she cannot provide certain things to the relationship that she might want to bring that as a hologram you can't necessarily do. So yeah, she invites her over. She kind of like holograms herself over her, kind of. You can still kind of see through. Um,
It's fucking fascinating. I don't. The
it
only.
it was interesting and weird, like at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting in a sense, like who thinks of something like that? And then, but it's like weird at the same time because it's like she's kind of like mirroring Joy's mirroring the Margaret. You said her name was
Mariette.
Mariette. She's kind of mirroring her moves, so it's not perfectly lined up the whole way. And
Yeah. Apparently, the computer program can like sync to her essentially to a degree.
but it's not, yeah, but it's not perfectly synced.
Yeah.
So if she moved her hand too fast, you don't. There's nothing to see. There's no no nudity in this movie, but it's interesting. It's an interesting concept for sure.
Yeah. The best way I can, the best example or the best scene I can connect it to is in the movie Deja Vu with,
Okay.
Okay. Why is my brain like this today? Who's the main guy in Deja Vu? Really, this is a crime that I'm doing. Julianne Moore and now Denzel Washington. Deja
Yes.
Vu
And Paula Patton.
is a it doesn't spoil anything. This might actually get you excited to watch the movie. I would recommend. Um it's a story about this detective solving a murder and he can see like 3 days in the past, but it or something like that. But it's a
like butterfly.
No, I don't want to spoil it that much. That's the ending. I might jump in and cut that out just to not spoil that.
If you cut that out,
okay.
Just know it's a good movie. I recommend watching it. It's another one of those mental movies.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan-esque.
So the whole hook to the movie is he's getting a live feed of like 3 days or a week or two, something like that.
I think it's 3 days.
In the past. And there's a point where he has these remote goggles that are showing him where a vehicle of interest in the case is going. So he has the goggles on while he's driving, and it becomes a dual chase sequence where he has to keep up with that car or he loses the clue forever. However, he has to keep watching with the goggles. He doesn't have anyone else in the car to watch with him. And he has to keep switching back and forth so that he doesn't like drive straight into a truck, let's say, and die. It's a super interesting, captivating chase scene that could only happen in that movie, which is to say, this is a super interesting sex scene that can only happen in this movie.
Okay, I was wondering where we're tying into that.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the tie-in was.
Unless you literally copy and paste the scenario that would lead to this. I can't imagine ever seeing it in another movie. It's really hard to make something so unique or, come up with a scenario that's so unique. But
speaking of unique, Joy, and one of the first scenes that we meet her, he actually programmed everything to make Joy, like her visually, because if you look right at the beginning, there's like different sliders. Like her face is number 34, her nose is this number, her eyes are this number. So he physically programmed Joy to make her look like Joy Anna de Armas.
I didn't catch that, but that makes a lot of sense considering that we see another Anna de Armas Joy who's like
Yeah.
pink skin and purple hair, I think.
Or blue and pink. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
A giant one.
Yeah. I forgot about that scene where she talks to him. So when we see like a few minutes before that and just, I don't know another way to phrase it. I'm just going to say it bluntly. Her giant pink ass in the wide shot. When I saw that, I was like, why are we seeing her giant pink ass? Like, is that just a
Oh,
choice?
I
But
guess
then,
I guess there was nudity in this movie because
oh,
when she turns around, she is topless. But I mean, it's
oh yeah, and the replicant that Jared Leto's character kills was nude.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so I guess there was nudity in this movie, but
but that should say something. I mean, I hope anyone listening to this has seen the movie already, but that speaks a lot to the movie and its sensibilities about the nudity that, like, when you said there was no nudity, I didn't remember. Like,
yeah, I honestly didn't
yeah,
either.
this doesn't strike me as a movie with nudity because it's, I guess, handled so tastefully.
Mhm.
And Michael Bay is not directing it. If there was, I don't think Michael Bay's ever made a film with nudity, but if he did, you'd know it. um, uh,
So interesting. So we're talking about Joy and all this.
mhm.
It's her relationship with Kay is super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, because and we're on the spoiler side, so I can kind of skip parts here. But she makes decisions that like real human beings might make. He
She
trained,
books the sex worker all
yeah,
on her own.
all on her own. Kind of forces him into it a little bit. Um,
I hope not.
I mean, he wasn't super.
He was surprised.
He was surprised and kind of taken back at first. I think he enjoyed it, but I think you know it was sprung upon him. It wasn't. I don't think it was 100% consensual at first.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's weird to say that. I hope that a surprise three-way essentially
Two and a
in
half.
enhance. I appreciate you. Ted Lasso reference, but also true. um I hope that it enhanced their relationship, which
Grows throughout this movie. You can tell that they have a close relationship in the beginning, but like she at the end kind of sacrifice. She makes a decision that ultimately sacrifices herself, and she knows that it definitely can. When he pulls her main computer out from the house to the little pen thing, she knows that there's a chance that if that pen or whatever the device is gets destroyed, that she's gone.
yeah.
And she even kind of talks him into it, like, no, this is a decision. I'm okay with this. And then at the end, when she finally does get destroyed, and towards the ending fight scenes, her last words to him was "I love you," which I thought was it was interesting, showing how even that relationship between Kay and Joy, what's outside of her being a hologram, there's not much else stopping them from being like a real relationship.
Yeah, she that was another thing that I thought was
And she even
so.
cries right before she dies, like she knows she's gonna, because the I forgot who it was, steps on the thing or is about to step on the thing, and that's when she
Yeah.
cries and says I love you.
Yeah, that was another thing that I thought was really beautifully handled. The example I gave while watching the movie for the Patreon reaction commentary,
Which I'd not seen
whatever.
that.
Oh, of me doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there are 1,000 ways to set up someone's death and try to make it meaningful, but it be really cheap. And my example was anyone who saw Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead.
Good movie.
Uh, I'll say
Interesting
out
movie.
of
Interesting movie.
definitely top 50% of Zack Snyder's movies. I'll definitely
It,
say it was enjoyable.
it was an interesting take on a zombie movie, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
But all of a sudden, like an hour and a half into the movie or something like that, one of the female members of the team randomly turns to Dave Bautista never having said anything flirty ever before in the movie and said, I actually thought we should essentially, we should go on a date after this. And then 5 seconds later, she gets her neck snapped. And it's like, oh, buddy.
You tried to make us care.
Yeah, you just put that an hour earlier and add maybe one or two more moments and then you've earned it. But man, just shove it. Like I remember watching it when she started doing that. I was like, oh, is she gonna die?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
She died. It was gruesome, but that is an example of not earning it to me.
Yeah.
And this one, ooh, like
yeah.
you could have done it cheaply and be like, we need to destroy this, and like taken everybody out of the audience and be like, why do you need to destroy that? Dude, she died. You didn't need to do that. But it was so fucking earned because she gave such a good reason, which was like if her backups and her hard drives are left intact, they can find out that he's the child and then put all the pieces together without him and follow him there to find Harrison Ford's character. And rewatching it, I was like, this must have taken so much time to one, come up with the rules to put her life at stake to make her death so meaningful.
Worth it. Yes.
And then to execute that so beautifully. Like you just, when she's saying it, you're like, oh, okay, we're adding a little risk to it. And you don't, I mean, my first time, I didn't know that she was going to die for certain.
It's brought up, it's mentioned, because I think Kay even says, but then she explains why she want to do it again. The decision making, an AI making decisions, real life or death decisions.
Yeah, and yeah, her
it had to be Anna de Armas. Had to be.
I'm so happy for her and her career. I mean,
she's done really well.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until, and I never saw the movie, but some Eli Roth movie with Keanu Reeves where I'd seen the trailer. Two young women come when his wife and child is away, and then they pressure him into a three-way, and then it's a horror movie where they're like, "We're gonna tell your wife." She was in that, but I didn't check it out. But since then, she's been in fucking the 3 great movies. Blade Runner 2049, Knives Out, No Time to Die. Just I'm so happy for her because she seems like a genuinely nice person who's very talented.
She's very talented. Yeah, I mean she's done great, and the roles that she's taken or been given, however that works out, has fit her perfectly. I mean, she's taken those roles and really excelled with them. So I'm happy for her.
And what rate? Like, I think the most surprising one for me was probably No Time to Die, because she was immediately like 5 seconds into finding her character. I'm like, oh, she's like a little girl in a candy store. That's such an interesting angle for a secret agent. Like, yes, I've been training. How long? 3 weeks. And she's like, ha, ha, ha. Like, but not overdoing it.
And she has her own little quip too, somewhere in that movie outside of the 3 weeks. So she's another little quip too, a James Bond-esque quip. So
I even saw an article, I think from Screen Rant, that was like, we already have our new female Bond, and it's not Nomi, and it showed a picture of Anna de Armas. I was like, that would be a really interesting take to make a sequel with her as the main character. I don't think they're going to do it, but that would be super interesting.
But segue. If you want to find out your take on who the next Bond should be, I think you should listen to our future episode of No Time to Die.
Yeah, we're gonna have to probably record a little no spoilers pre to conform to this new format. But yeah, that was a great.
If you want, so if you want to listen,
nicely done, nice plug.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the podcast.
Subscribe to the podcast, and you can hear our thoughts on who the new James Bond should be and why. Mostly yours, not so much mine.
Hey, I appreciate you.
You really thought about yours way thorougher than mine. Way more thorough.
Since then, I have a whole trilogy plan.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right, save it, eat it.
I've got it.
Write it down. Send it to UA.
I'm gonna make a YouTube video. It's interesting because when you listen to that, I'm like, we need to do either 2 movies or 4 movies. I just don't want to do a trilogy. And now I'm like, no, I got a trilogy. Yeah. Oh, what did you think about Harrison Ford's character coming in?
For the first watch through of this, I was like, it was way out in left field. I did not know Harrison Ford was in this movie. I don't know if he's on the title screen or not, but I didn't look because I didn't even read the description of the movie or anything because I just want to kind of go into it as blind as I could. Yeah. So seeing Harrison Ford was like, wait, why is Harrison Ford in this movie? I was like expecting like Indiana Jones or something, to pop out or, just out of left field.
This is a little behind the scenes for everybody, but when we first got on the Zoom call before we started recording, one of the first things you did was feed your dog cheese.
Yes.
And Harrison Ford's first line is like coming in with a dog asking, "Hey boy, got some cheese?"
After shooting at him.
Almost has almost nothing to do with the movie, but did he try to blow him up or was it the Ravager? Not Ravagers, but
or something tripped one of them, and set off because when Ryan Gosling walks in, he notices the tripwire, steps over the tripwire, and then is immediately on guard from there on out. But and then something hits one of the tripwires.
Tries to blow. Now I understand because I was thinking of they're not Ravagers, but that's what I was thinking of the people who tried.
Jared Leto gang.
Oh, was that who it was? Like, it's been a couple weeks. They kind of struck me like the people who tried kidnapping Thor in Thor Ragnarok before Tessa Thompson drunkenly came in. They went.
Yeah, I guess they would be a part of Jared Leto's group because Jared Leto's group is the one that's trying to find the kid and everything. Love is running around trying to connect the pieces. So I would assume that they have to be a part of Jared Leto's gang.
I know.
Jokers.
Just leaving space for that to respect the cringy dad joke because I actually have a lot of respect for that. I believe it is definitely Jared Leto's gang that comes in after Kay and everyone's gonna hate that I'm forgetting Harrison Ford's character name since he's the original Blade Runner.
Nope. Starts with a D. I know this one. I don't want to look it up. I'm trying not to look it up. Anyway, keep going.
All right. They come in when Ana de Armas's character dies, but when Kay crashes and is being accosted by everybody, I think those are just people trying to get supply, like random, like kind of Ravagers. They're scavengers. That's why I kept thinking Ravager. They're scavengers, and I don't think they're related to the main conflict. They're just people who will kill to get supplies.
No, because Love sends in the like spacecraft one. She tracks Kay. So she's the one that sends like the spacecraft looking one that shoots like projectiles into their like, I assume it's like a Las Vegas hotel. I forgot where they went exactly. For everybody that's screaming at us that has seen this movie, his name is Rick Deckard. So he goes by Deckard. So you can stop screaming at us now. But yeah, because she's the one that sends. And she's like controlling it through like glasses or whatever.
Yeah, I remember now. She did down his vehicle. So I need to rewatch it again and see if the people who are approaching him look like they're part of the gang. Because I for some reason I always got the impression that they're just scavengers. Like, but yeah, you're right. She definitely took down his car. Yeah. What else would you like to talk about before we wrap this up?
The first watch through, and this becomes more evident on the second one, that Ryan Gosling is not the main character of the movie, despite us following him the whole time.
Well, I guess he's technically the main character, but he's not the one, the
Yeah,
prodigal child who will
and
change everything.
and Venu, right? Am I pronouncing that right? The
I
director.
believe so.
Ooh,
Denis
I'm proud of
Villeneuve.
I'm proud of myself
It's
because
pronounced Zo.
yeah, well, it looks like Dennis. Just add an N, it's Dennis. French Canadian. I know it. I know he's French. Dennis. Dennis. Um, but
Half the
I mean,
people are yelling at me for forgetting Deckard's name, and half of them are yelling at you for
I just
mispronouncing Denis' name.
I just upset like every French Canadian, and I'm like on a wanted list. I can't go to Montreal anymore.
I don't think you know the stereotype of Canadian people.
But no Canadian people, but French Canadians are the aggressive ones.
Okay.
Have you never seen Letterkenny?
I've
That's how
seen
I.
a couple episodes. My
Oh,
friend Melissa, who's
that's
from
a good.
Canada, loves that.
Yeah, it's good. It's funny.
Okay.
But yeah, Canada's. Oops, sorry. Oop, don't. Here's a donut on the hoose. Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. But like the French Canadians are like the aggressive ones. Like they're like the United States of.
Either you've pissed off all French Canadians more, or you've just made them feel very seen.
Which is putting me on a watch list now. I cannot enter Montreal. Go Canucks, right? Montreal. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
Hopefully I earn someone back. If not, my Instagram handle is at movies are dope. You can hate me there.
Lies.
But yeah, I mean, I think Vanu does a really good job of like making you feel like Ryan Gosling or Kay is like the one. He's like Neo. He's because most movies focus on, the star, the prodigal child, the special one kind of thing. Luke Skywalker. Like the whole first ones are pretty much the whole series is about Skywalker name. And you assume whoever you follow is a Skywalker or a Skywalker prodigy, or so he's like Neo.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like
So
the mate,
you believe him to be special, and he has the memories that make him special.
yeah,
Kind of.
to rope in the post you've got in the background, Harry
Uh-oh.
Potter did the special one, but Neville might be the special one, but he's not. And then this one did Kay's the special one, but actually it's not Neville, but it's somebody else. It actually is. And then Matrix is right in the middle where it's like Neo is the one, but actually maybe Agent Smith is the one. And we'll never tell you either way, motherfucker. But that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, and so you're led the whole way up until like the last the last 20 minutes that he's the special one. And then it's revealed to us that it's actually not. It's actually Deckard's daughter, who we meet a little bit earlier in the movie as a memory maker. And when she sees that his memory for the first time of the horse, which also has the same date as the tree, and we're kind of way crazy on the timeline here. But it has the same date, and he finds out that there was two replicants born on the same day with the same genes. One of them was supposedly killed off because their genes were bad or died because of a gene mishap, which throws them off the pathway to find. So if you were hunting down that path and logically thinking there's a twin boy and girl, that the girl dies, that the boy would be the special one, which would lead you to find Kay, when Kay is not really the special one. It's actually the girl who is still alive, which is Deckard's daughter.
Is that what happened? Because what the impression I got was that in the records, the impression I got was that that was the cover story. But what I thought happened was they took a deceased boy's code, quote unquote, and then copied it for a girl to kind of hide. I need to rewatch it.
But I thought Kay was the boy, which is why he had the memories. Why they implanted the memories of the horse and him burning of the horse, not burning the horse. Because I guess wood is super special. I mean, they were joking he could trade it for a real horse.
I gotta rewatch it again then, because I just assumed that she, as an expert memory maker, just started off by using her own memory and put in random replicants. And
see, I thought it was the other way. I mean, we might be both wrong in this one. Maybe we need to rewatch it for a third time.
maybe. Well, this is, I mean, so many people spent so long debating whether Deckard was a replicant or not. I wouldn't be surprised if these things were meant to be left a little vague so that people could debate. But
which again is one of the news things. But anyway, keep going.
All right, the last thing I want to ask before we wrap up, one that is left, I don't even know if it's intentional to be misleading or to cause a discussion, but do you believe she is actually immunocompromised because she's a replicant birth, and I'm sure there's some wonkiness to her DNA that she's immunocompromised, or do you think that she was told that so that she would be put somewhere where not a lot of people would visit and they couldn't discover that she was the one? Because at the end, Deckard's death is faked. He could go anywhere, but it would strike me as kind of weird that now he has the whole world at his fingertips and he can't. And then now that he's found his daughter, he can't go anywhere else. It's like he's right back at square one where he's like, well, I can't take her out of this bubble. Yeah. So I'm always going to be a 20-mile radius of this spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's super interesting to think about either way, whether because she is the first replicant birth, that she would have some gene deficiencies and possibly immunocompromised or other things. So that's an interesting path to go down. Or, the alternative path that you provided, which, that's super interesting. To lock her up in there so nobody visits her except for and then it kind of makes her safe too. You're kind of for sure saying, yeah, she's kind of untouchable because I'm sure that glass is, bulletproof and whatever. Yeah, that is a super interesting thing to think about.
We can all talk about it over on the Movies Are Dope Instagram, or if you want to join the Patreon, we're in the Discord.
Always in the Discord. Probably too much in the Discord.
I meant to say this earlier in the review, but hey, we got our first patron, the co-creator of that fancy shirt you got, Granny Shifton.
My hair's in the way and everything.
Don't. I'll tell Ryan this anyway, but I was gonna wait until our Fast and Furious podcast was live so that it could be a surprise that you were the co-host of it if you hadn't told him already. And then I was gonna invite him to the Discord anyway. But I was like, dude, when I saw it, I was like, dude, you didn't need to do that. I could join. He's like, nah, it's been. So I feel like he still would have gone the $2 route, but.
I didn't tell him that I was doing it, or I didn't tell him that I was going to be a co-host or anything like that, but I kind of poked it at him a little bit, being like, because on one of the episodes when they were filming, I was in their YouTube chat and I think they'd mentioned you or mentioned Movies Are Dope and the logos that they made for you. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to poke like a Mad versus GS war, Movies Are Dope versus Granny Shifting war, just to kind of like poke at it.
Yeah.
But no, I never explicitly said or even kind of hinted at the fact that I would do one. And he said that too in the Discord, saying, he didn't know, but,
yeah,
he's glad I joined your side.
Yeah, he told me. Not gonna lie. Part of me, if all these podcasts go well, part of me wants to go to him and be like, yeah, so how much, what if Mad Media acquired Riot Media for like
$20 and a case of beer,
$1,000, and you keep all your revenue that you currently have, but you start monetizing your podcasts with ads, which he's held off of. I was like, you keep all
Brought
your
to you by Squarespace.
how would that feel? How would you
Yeah.
feel about that? Because he's a great artist, and I'd love to work with him on thumbnails and stuff. But anyway,
Yeah, right. Nice guy, super nice guy. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out Spicy J. Also a cool guy. He Jay seems like the kind of guy that you'd want to hang out, have a couple of beers with.
no,
So
yeah, they both seem like that. Hell, actually I forgot. I was at Ryan's house.
yeah, because
How
you're
long ago?
yeah.
Like a year ago? Less than
No,
a
it
year
was
ago? 10
less than
years ago?
probably six. Feels like 10 years, but it's probably only been like
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah, time doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, when he did an episode of Granny Shipton.
Yeah, that was fun. Um, yeah. Any final thoughts for this masterpiece?
I'd be interested. I'd be interested. Sorry, in doing more movies by the same director. Dune. Maybe in the near future, because I think that'd be an interesting one. But I like his style. I like his thoughtful style. He likes his close-ups a little bit too much. Even in Dune, he's very, very close-up centric. He wants you to feel very connected with characters, and he does that through like they are the main point of the shot, and to the point where they kind of like blurs out the stuff in the background too. Just so you focus on the character. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's a very interesting that you say that he likes close-ups too much, because when I close my eyes and think of Blade Runner 2049, all I think actually in the background there's like a Blade Runner inspired Kingsman thing. All I remember or all I think about are like the wides of just expanses with like a teeny tiny Ryan Gosling walking around.
But then
so that's interesting.
Ryan Gosling starts talking, and it's super close up. Yeah. Even Ana de Armas, when they show her, super close up, and to the point where they kind of, like I said, kind of blur out a little bit in the background just to make you focus on the characters. He did that in this movie. He did it in Dune. He does an Enemy. I think it does it to like try and really make you connect with the characters. But I mean, all the shots that I can think of in this movie are like super close up of characters, or if it's two characters, it's a wide shot. And as soon as one of them starts talking, most of the time he kind of snaps to them. Like Harrison Ford in Kay in the like the nightclub area of his casino, and it's like wide shot, and then one of them starts talking and it snaps to Deckard, or snaps to Kay.
You know what this I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to that the next time I watch it. But
Dune,
you know what that description reminds me of?
What's that?
Is the musical version, the Hugh Jackman version of Les Miserables, but not shit. And as far as us doing Dune, I would love and we can talk about it more if you would like to do it sooner, but I would love to wait for Dune Part 2 and then do a review of both as one movie.
Dune Part 2 is like 2023, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Because I know
throwing this out there.
Because I mean, I'm flexible about doing part 1 earlier, but for me it truly is like, what a masterpiece, and I would love to see the second half.
Okay.
Of the movie.
Without getting into spoilers or anything crazy with Dune, think about all your shots of Dune super close up on, like, especially towards the end of the movie. Well, in the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, I think are like you're meeting the characters. Boom, close up of the kid. Boom, close up of what's his name from Star Wars. Boom, close up of the guy reading the script for giving him Atreides. Boom, the end of the movie, or towards the end of the movie when they meet the people. I'm drawing a blank on the people's names, but like it meets everybody's super close up. Even when the leader is talking for the guys before he does the battle. Boom, all these little things.
I'm gonna try to watch it again on HBO Max and record my reaction for the Patreon, and then pay attention to that.
Pay attention to how many close-ups, and when they do close-ups, how much of the background kind of gets faded out per se, blurred out a little bit to make you focus on that character.
All right,
that's something I've noticed in his movies that are super interesting. But yeah,
I'll keep attention to that next time I either watch Blade Runner 2049 or Dune or any of the others. But that's
He
not
he
something
likes
I
he
ever
likes the
picked
wide
up on.
shots, like the super
Yeah.
super wide shots. But as soon as like there's character development or character talking, he likes to snap to them and make you feel one on one with that character.
Hmm.
Something I've noticed. So
All right. All right. Well, that was our review of 2049, Blade Runner 2049. Brad, what's your Instagram?
at Brad F912.
Hey, you said it was movies are dope earlier when you were
Oh
inviting
yes.
shit.
But that's only if you want to fight me on Canada. If you want to fight me on Canada, that's movies are dope. If you want to send me nice friendly messages with flowers and that's at Brad F912.
Bastard. No. Cool beans. So I don't know. I'll make a post over on Instagram so anyone can talk about it if they want to. But if you, yeah, like I said, if you want to join the discussion for a deeper, more personal one, join the Patreon. It's even just as low as $1, but that'll give you Discord access and all kinds of goodies. See you next time.
Movies are dope.
Movies are dope, and this movie is Mushroom. Maybe that's how I'll. Maybe that's how these will end. This movie is Mushroom, and I'm gonna make it end like that because I'm gonna hit stop recording. This movie is Mushroom. Anything you want to say before we cut?
Nope. Mushroom.
Mushroom.